The world is not ruled by the just, but by those who understand how to wear justice like a mask. If you seek to rise, do not beg for power. Seize it with a mind sharpened like a dagger and a heart armored in silence. Men are not governed by reason. They are governed by sight, by impressions, by the mask you present to them. A ruler, a leader, a tactician, anyone who wishes to control others, must understand this fundamental truth. It is not your actions that matter most, but how those actions are perceived. Power lies not in essence, but in illusion. And to command illusion is to hold the strings of perception, which is to hold the minds of men. If you wish to succeed in a world that devours the knave and glorifies the cunning, you must learn to wear many faces. One for the court, another for your rivals, another for the public, and one you reveal to no one, not even your allies. The greatest weapon you possess is the image you cast into the minds of others. Never show your true self. Instead, become what the situation demands. Let fools be consistent in virtue. You must be consistent only in victory. Those who speak of authenticity are often poor, exiled, or forgotten. They praise honesty because they lack the skill to deceive. But the wise understand that to rise, one must become a master of contradictions. You must appear compassionate, but be ruthless. You must appear humble, yet hunger for dominion. You must smile when your heart is cold, and cry when your soul feels nothing. This is not hypocrisy, it is strategy. Appearances are not lies, they are shields, they are tools, they are weapons. Use them without shame. If the people believe you are noble, they will excuse your cruelty. If they believe you are strong, they will follow even when you lead them into ruin. It is belief, not truth, that rules the world. Therefore, control belief, shape the theater. Your life's a stage, and every word, every gesture, every silence must serve the script you write for others to see. You must study human nature with the dispassion of a surgeon. People crave certainty, even when it is false. They prefer a beautiful lie to an ugly truth. Give them the lie. Feed them the image of the virtuous prince, the honest leader, the brave warrior, while behind closed doors you calculate with cold precision. Never forget what people see will outweigh what they know. This is the blindness you must exploit. When entering a room, consider how you are dressed, how you walk, where you place your eyes. Let nothing be accidental. You are not a man or woman. You are a symbol, and that symbol must be carefully curated. If you appear confident, you will be trusted. If you appear devout, you will be forgiven. If you appear kind, your treachery will be doubted. And if ever your mask slips, let the performance grow more convincing, not less. Double down on your illusion. Apologize publicly and manipulate privately. The crowd does not remember facts. They remember feelings. Control those and you control them. Even in defeat, you can appear victorious. Even in scandal, you can appear honorable. Do not concern yourself with truth. Concern yourself with narrative. He who defines the story defines the outcome. If your enemies speak against you, let your image drown out their words. If you are called a villain, appear more generous. If they whisper betrayal, appear more loyal. Give the people what they expect to see, and they will believe what you want them to. The skilled mind must anticipate perception as much as consequence. A clever action executed without control of its appearance can be fatal. A foolish act cloaked in nobility can be praised. This is the difference between those who rise and those who fall. Not the act, but how it is seen. The mistake of the honest man is to believe that merit is enough. It is not. Merit without image is invisible. Virtue without theater is silence, and silence has no followers. Therefore, never strive merely to be good. Strive to appear better than all others. Outward virtue is more useful than inward principle, for the world cannot see your heart. It can only see the costume you wear. To master the art of appearances is to master control over chaos. Where others react, you dictate. Where others stumble under truth, you thrive through illusion. Let others waste their time proving their innocence. Let others defend their sincerity. You will already have won by showing the world what they wish to believe. There are moments when kindness is not a virtue but a disease. In the domain of power, cruelty is not the enemy. It is a tool, and like all tools, its value lies in how and when it is used. The weak are crushed not because they are soft, but because they hesitate to do what must be done. The illusion that mercy will protect you is the first delusion of those destined to be devoured. You must learn that cruelty, when applied correctly, is not a mark of barbarism, but of strategic intelligence. Cruelty, to be effective, must be precise. It must be sudden, it must be cold, and it must be final. There is no room for repeated wounds or displays of mindless violence. Such chaos breeds rebellion, but a single, well-executed blow, visible, decisive, and unmistakably calculated, creates order. It silences dissent, it breeds fear, and from fear, respect. Fear, unlike love, does not fade. It does not depend on the mood of the people or the seasons of fortune. It remains anchored in memory. Men must either be treated kindly or destroyed. Anything in between invites vengeance. If you strike your enemy, do not wound. Kill his capacity to retaliate. Leave no door open for recovery. Mercy is not always a virtue. It is often a gamble. And the wise man does not gamble with survival. When your position is secure, when the roots of your authority are deep, then you may display clemency, not before. And even then, let your mercy be strategic, not sentimental. The common mistake of rulers and leaders is to indulge in cruelty without direction or to avoid it altogether out of fear of public judgment. Both extremes are fatal. Unmeasured cruelty breeds instability. Unexercised cruelty breeds weakness. You must walk the middle path, cold and calculating. Ask not whether your actions are good or evil. Ask whether they are effective. If blood must be spilled to maintain order, spill it swiftly and move on. The people remember chaos more than cruelty. A single purge will be forgiven if it restores peace. 1,000 pardons will be despised if they lead to ruin. There will come a time when your authority is questioned, when a rival dares to challenge your rule, or when a subordinate grows too ambitious. Do not counsel with pity. Do not plead for loyalty. Cut the root. Remove the threat with a display of dominance so clear, so brutal, that no other dares to imitate it. Make examples, not enemies. The threat to your power must not only be removed, it must be made visible. The crowd must see your control. They must see what happens to those who forget their place. Cruelty must also be impersonal. Do not strike in rage, do not act from insult. That is the behavior of the fool. Your cruelty must be free from passion, clean like a blade drawn from ice. You are not taking revenge. You are maintaining order. You are not punishing a man. You are shaping the perception of all who watch. Even when you destroy, do it with a calm face. Let them see not wrath, but inevitability. You must also understand when not to be cruel. The display of power is more important than the use of it. There are moments when the threat of cruelty is more powerful than cruelty itself. A well-placed silence, a cold glance, a reputation built upon previous severity. These can paralyze a room more effectively than bloodshed. If you are known for swift and calculated punishment, you will rarely have to punish at all. The mere possibility becomes enough. It is not the cruelty itself that gives you power, but the discipline with which you wield it. To dominate, you must be able to hurt, but more importantly, you must know precisely when to hurt, how much, and to whom. Strike not the loudest, but the most dangerous. Punish not to satisfy your ego, but to protect your structure. Let your enemies fear you. Let your allies need you. And let the people, even as they whisper of your coldness, thank you for the peace your hands have bought. Power does not reside in force alone. It resides in the mind, in perception, in belief. And nothing shapes belief more effectively than information. To control the narrative is to control reality itself. The sword conquers bodies, but the word conquers minds. Therefore, he who masters information does not merely influence the present, he dictates the future. If others know your intentions, they can stop you. If they are blind to your purpose, they walk into your traps willingly. To dominate others, you must first dominate what they know. Let no man see your full design. Reveal only fragments, contradictions, and illusions. If you speak truth, do so shrouded in ambiguity. Let your words be mirrors in a fog, reflective, misleading, impossible to grasp. Information is like a currency, and the wise ruler never spends it freely. Give them a little so they think they know you. Tell them what they expect so they lower their guard. Distract them with noise so they ignore the signal. In chaos, you are king. People do not seek truth. They seek comfort, simplicity, and certainty. And the one who supplies these, even if they are false, becomes their oracle. Control the tale they tell themselves about you. Be the hero in their eyes while you play the strategist behind their backs. In war, it is not always the strongest army that wins. It is the one that confuses, misleads, and manipulates the enemy into fighting the wrong battle. This principle applies not only to nations, but to every room, every negotiation, every relationship. Say nothing that cannot be misunderstood to your advantage. The most dangerous man is not the one who speaks loudly, but the one who listens silently and speaks selectively. He absorbs all, reveals little, and speaks only to bend perception. What you conceal holds more power than what you display. Keep your rivals guessing, your allies uncertain, and your enemies misdirected. Information is the battlefield of the mind, and every word you say is either a weapon or a weakness. Use them as weapons. Let others speak recklessly. Every sentence they utter reveals a part of their design. You, in contrast, must become unreadable. Whisper false truths when necessary. Leak plans that are not plans. Let spies find what you want them to find. Spread fear where there is no danger, and calm where a storm is brewing. Your enemies will make decisions based on lies you have planted, and those decisions will lead them to ruin. It is not treachery if it leads to victory. It is mastery. When you control what others know, you do not need to force their actions. They act in the way you desire, believing it is their own will. This is the essence of true dominance. Invisible, irresistible, and untraceable. Never confront directly what you can dissolve through confusion. Silence a critic not with violence but with doubt. Destroy a rumor not by denial, but by replacing it with another, more useful fiction. Let information serve as your armor, your weapon, and your disguise. Do not allow yourself to be predictable. Predictability is an open door to exploitation. If others can guess your moves, they will counter you. If you become a mystery, they will hesitate. That hesitation is your advantage. When they prepare for one version of you, become another. When they seek your motive, give them a dozen false ones. When they think they know your past, invent a different one. Reinvent yourself not because you must, but because it keeps others off balance. Stability in your core, fluidity in your image. That is how the intelligent rule. The mind is the true battlefield, and information is the terrain. Shape it, distort it, command it. Give the crowd a story to follow, even as you write a different ending. Feed them symbols while you orchestrate structure. Keep your enemies talking about shadows, while you move silently behind the curtain. It is not always the truth that wins, but the version of truth that is most repeated, most seen, most believed. That version belongs to you, if you dare to seize it. Power is most potent when it is invisible, when others believe they control their destiny, yet remain bound to your hand. Dependency is the chain that ensures loyalty, the thread that binds others to your will. If you wish to stand above those around you, never allow them to stand alone. To be indispensable is to be invincible. When others depend on you for their survival, their success, and their sense of worth, they will follow you not out of loyalty, but out of necessity. The first mistake a leader can make is to empower others in a way that makes them independent. Those who share their strength weaken their own position. Generosity is the fool's tool. Those who give too much invite competition. The wise make others feel indebted, yet never offer them the ability to stand alone. If someone becomes too powerful or too self-sufficient, they will soon challenge you. Your role is not to create equals, but to create subordinates who are tied to your success. When people come to rely on you, when their fate is intertwined with yours, their loyalty becomes a byproduct of their own need. If you wish to keep your position, ensure that no one can rise without your consent. This is not manipulation in the conventional sense, it is strategic survival. Dependency breeds control. When a man or woman has everything they need because of you, they become terrified of losing that connection. Fear of loss is more powerful than any emotion, for it chains the soul. There are many ways to create dependency, but the most effective ones involve control over the necessities of life, whether those necessities are material, emotional, or psychological. Control their wealth, and you control their choices. Control their reputation, and you control their actions. Keep them in need of your favor, of your protection, of your guidance. The illusion of freedom is powerful. Make others believe they are free, and they will continue to serve you. But always ensure that the reality of their dependency remains. A man who is dependent on you will overlook your faults, excuse your mistakes, and sacrifice his own interests for the promise of your favor. Those who owe their position to you will fight for you, not because they love you, but because their survival depends on it. The most powerful are those who control the means by which others live. When people rely on your favor for their livelihood, they will bend to your will, even when they resent it. Psychologically, dependency is deeply rooted in fear. It is fear of loss, fear of failure, and fear of the unknown. The leader who can instill this fear will find no shortage of followers. And yet, the dependent person is not always aware of their chains. The clever ruler makes dependency seem like a blessing, a favor, an opportunity. People will praise you for the very chains that keep them bound to you. This is the genius of dependency. It is disguised in such a way that even those who are controlled believe they are in control. A ruler must be careful, however, never to let this dependency turn into resentment. There is a fine line between making someone dependent and making them feel trapped. If they begin to feel like they are slaves, they may begin to revolt. Therefore, the wise leader ensures that dependence is always framed as a privilege, as a mutually beneficial relationship. Keep them comfortable in their role. Give them just enough to make them feel secure, but never enough to make them believe they can thrive without you. They must believe that their success is due to you, and this belief must be so strong that they cannot imagine their world without your influence. You must also make sure that your power is not dependent on anyone else. The greatest mistake is to place your trust in another's hands, for dependence is a two-way street. Ensure that those who depend on you are forever tied to your will, but that your survival does not hinge on theirs. In doing so, you ensure that the system remains in your favor. No one should ever be in a position to dictate your fate. Make your position unshakable by ensuring that you are the one who holds the keys to others' success. Your ability to make others dependent on you is your greatest shield. When your position is secured through the needs of those around you, no force can dislodge you. They will fight for you, protect you, and defend your reign, not because they love you, but because they fear losing what you provide. Unity is an illusion in any system. The wise ruler does not seek unity among others, they create and exploit divisions. When people are divided, their focus is scattered, their energies dissipated, and their ability to challenge you is weakened. People are most vulnerable when they are at odds with one another, for when they fight amongst themselves, they cannot unite against you. Division is a weapon of the highest order. It keeps your enemies occupied, your allies distracted, and your rule unchallenged. A divided society is a fragile one, easy to control and manipulate. The first step in mastering division is recognizing the natural fault lines that exist within any group. Whether it be social, political, economic, or personal, people will always have differences, whether in values, desires, ambitions, or beliefs. A wise ruler does not fight to erase these differences. They accentuate them. A single well-placed whisper can turn a seemingly united group into a fractured collection of self-interested factions. A common enemy can quickly become irrelevant when rivalries are stoked and resentment is fed. The best rulers understand the psychology of division. It is not about creating hatred, but about sowing doubt. A divided group will look inward, questioning each other's loyalty, motives, and competence, leaving little time or energy to challenge your authority. The moment people become suspicious of each other, their efforts are redirected from threatening your power to guarding their own position. And as long as they remain divided, you stand unchallenged. One of the most effective ways to create divisions is to highlight differences that others may not even notice. Expose cracks in relationships, magnify discrepancies in behavior, and give voice to the fears that have been quietly brewing. People will instinctively begin to align with those who share their grievances, their frustrations, or their desires. The rift doesn't have to be grand. It can be as simple as emphasizing a small contradiction in words or actions, or suggesting that someone is not to be trusted. This subtle manipulation encourages individuals to pick sides, and once they do, their minds are forever clouded by suspicion, and their focus shifted from the collective to their personal conflicts. In politics, this can take the form of pitting factions against each other, suggesting that one group's success is the other's downfall. In business, it may mean fostering competition between departments, encouraging rivalries that ensure no one has the time or inclination to challenge the leadership. In personal relationships, it might be as simple as suggesting someone's hidden intentions or desires. The beauty of this strategy is that the divisions do not need to be profound. People will carry them as long as they are given the space to do so. The next step is to exploit these divisions once they are created. A ruler who understands division does not merely sit back and watch. It is not enough to let chaos reign. Instead, they actively guide the discord toward their own ends. Offer subtle support to one faction while undermining another. Encourage cooperation with some while creating tension with others. Play each group off the other, ensuring that no one ever has enough power to become a threat. When necessary, amplify the division by making promises or showing favor to the most divided, fueling their rivalry further. The fractured landscape that results is a fertile ground for your manipulation. Once divisions take root, the consequences of them become self-sustaining. People become more isolated, more paranoid, and less effective at organizing against you. They are far more likely to fight one another than confront the authority that has set them against each other. You must ensure, however, that the divisions are not allowed to become so destructive that they destroy the group entirely. The balance lies in making sure that enough conflict exists to weaken the collective, but not so much that the whole system collapses. The instability created must always be controllable. Chaos should serve you, not overthrow you. The true genius of exploitation lies not in the spectacle of conflict, but in the ability to maintain it subtly, so that it never fully boils over into open rebellion. People must always be preoccupied with their own inner struggles, unsure who they can trust, unable to consolidate their strength. This is the method of creating a perpetual state of tension, where everyone is too distracted to challenge your authority, even if they feel the strain of division. One must also understand that divisions can be temporary or long-term. A wise ruler creates divisions that have a lasting impact, ones that are not easily healed, as long as the factions believe that resolution is impossible. Encourage a permanent sense of mistrust, and you ensure that the fractures remain intact. The longer divisions last, the more entrenched they become, and the more difficult they are to overcome. The result is a fragmented society or organization, where loyalty is not to each other, but to the ruler who has created and maintained the divisions. In the end, division becomes a method of control. It is not a tool of destruction, but a force that weakens the opposition and strengthens your own hold. It turns enemies into allies of convenience, encourages mistrust, and keeps the eyes of your opponents constantly shifting, never settling long enough to focus on the true source of their weakness. The more divided your enemies become, the more united your power remains. To think, act, and win like those who have mastered the art of power is not to rely on brute force or fortune, but to manipulate the subtleties of human nature, perception, and action. It is to understand that in a world driven by ambition, loyalty, and treachery, power is gained not through the strength of your sword, but through the sharpness of your mind. To walk the path of dominance, you must first learn the art of calculated cruelty. The weakness of mercy must be discarded for the more effective weapon of decisive action that breeds fear and control. Fear is the silent partner of respect, and respect is the root of power. You do not lead through affection or admiration, but through the careful application of dominance, ensuring that no one questions your authority once it is established. Information, too, is your weapon. the truth is malleable, and he who controls the flow of knowledge controls the course of destiny. In a world where lies become truths and truths are often concealed, the master manipulator is not the one who speaks loudest, but the one who speaks least, revealing only what serves their purpose. Control the narrative, and you control not only your reputation, but the behavior of those who rely on the story they are told. Make them believe what you want them to, and they will act accordingly. Blind to your true intentions. Dependence is your shield, and dependence is your sword. Those who need you are not only loyal, they are forever bound to your power. The wisest do not foster independence, but create situations where their allies, their subordinates, and even their enemies are entangled in a web that requires them to stay close. The world does not operate on the premise of equality, but on the quiet knowledge that survival is always tied to the master who grants or withholds favor. They will not challenge you, for they cannot thrive without you. Your power comes not just from what you give, but from the ways in which you keep others in your debt, ensuring that no one stands alone in their rise to success. The most brilliant leaders understand that power is held not by the unity of their followers, but by the division of their enemies. Factions weaken their collective strength, and suspicion, once sown, grows to fracture relationships. You must create divisions, encourage mistrust, and allow others to focus on their own internal struggles rather than on the power that threatens them. The ability to manipulate the dynamics between rivals is a fine art that ensures they remain in perpetual conflict, distracted by their own divisions, while you move forward undisturbed. The wisest are those who know how to stir the pot without allowing it to boil over. Power is not about open conquest, but the quiet orchestration of circumstances. It is about creating dependency, controlling perception, and exploiting every divide to keep your enemies scrambling, your allies loyal, and your authority unquestioned. The true ruler is the one who never has to force their will upon others, for others do so willingly, either through fear, necessity, or confusion. In this game, strength is less important than intellect. Cruelty is a tool for maintaining order, and control is achieved not through confrontation, but through subtle manipulation and strategic action. To think like a ruler, to act like a ruler, is to understand that power is not a right. It is an art, and it is earned by those who can manipulate every element in the game. Those who master this art stand above the chaos of human nature, commanding with a quiet hand and an unshakable will. The true question is not whether you can win, but whether you are willing to do whatever it takes to secure your place at the top.